Senator Lummis questioned Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent about the growing importance of digital assets and whether China is attempting to use blockchain and cryptocurrency to challenge America's leadership in global finance. She also pressed the secretary on the need for clear U.S. regulations governing the digital asset industry and how those rules could strengthen America's position in the emerging financial landscape.
There are lots of rumors of Chinese digital assets that may be backed by something other than the RMB, perhaps gold-based. We haven't seen that. They have a very large sandbox in Hong Kong, and HKMA is actively traveling the world looking at different mechanisms. So I would not be surprised.
Based on what you know now, what is your opinion about the importance of having clear rules of the road, market structure legislation in the United States?
Look, I think that it's impossible to proceed without it. We have to get this Clarity Act across the finish line, and any market participants who don't want it should move to El Salvador.
So, as a industry, what is the benefit to having this industry embedded in the U.S. economy?
Well, again, as I said, that there seem to be people who want to live in the U.S. but not have rules for this important industry, and we've got to bring safe, sound, and smart practices and the oversight of the U.S. government, but also allow for the freedom that is crypto. And I think it's a balance that is being worked out. It was worked out in the Genius Act, and I'm confident with leadership of people on both sides of the aisle that we can get clarity across the line this year.
Can you see a day when conventional banks and digital asset banking are offering the same types of products, giving each an advantage to offering a broader array of financial products to the American consumer?
I think that can happen over time, and we've actually been working with small and community banks to discuss how they can be part of the digital asset revolution also.
Among the things that have challenged us in these last months is concern by community banks and big banks that the stablecoin bill, the Genius Act, and market structure could cause a bleeding of deposits from small banks. What's your reaction to that concern?
Look, I've been a champion of these small banks, and deposit volatility is very undesirable because it is the stability of those deposits that allows them to lend into their communities, ag, small business, real estate, and we will continue to work to make sure that there is no deposit volatility associated with this.
Well, as an ag borrower, I commend you on that because I have borrowed from community banks on our ag operation for decades, and we're dependent on our community banking relationships in rural America to help sustain us and grow our businesses. So I very much appreciate that. I want to switch to digital asset taxation for just a minute. So among the things that I'm exploring, and the Senate Finance Committee has a package of bills that looks really good to me on digital asset taxation. But one of them that's kind of vexing that I could use some guidance on is the issue of de minimis with regard to especially Bitcoin and other digital assets that might be used as a means of exchange. So the issue is, will it be a capital gain or will it be exempt from capital gains when it's used as a means of exchange to purchase things? And if it's going to be subject to a capital gain, how do you calculate what the capital gain is? If somebody has a blended portfolio of Bitcoin, some of which were purchased when it was $300, some of which were purchased today at $75,000, and some of which were purchased a year ago at over $100,000. How do you calculate the capital gain? Do you have some thoughts about that, or who I could consult with in your shop?
It's a very complicated subject. We'd be very happy to have our Office of Tax Policy work with your team.
I'll be over. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
We look forward to seeing you.
Bessent acknowledged that there are reports of China exploring digital assets, including the possibility of digital currencies backed by assets such as gold. He noted that Hong Kong has established a large digital asset sandbox and that the Hong Kong Monetary Authority has been studying different financial mechanisms around the world. Lummis then asked about the importance of passing clear market structure legislation in the United States. Bessent argued that the industry cannot move forward without regulatory clarity. He strongly supported getting the Clarity Act across the finish line and suggested that companies unwilling to operate under clear U.S. rules should consider moving elsewhere. The discussion then turned to the benefits of keeping the digital asset industry within the United States. Bessent said the goal should be to establish safe, sound, and responsible oversight while preserving the freedom and innovation associated with cryptocurrency. He pointed to the Genius Act as an example of bipartisan progress and expressed confidence that lawmakers could pass broader market structure legislation this year. Lummis also asked whether traditional banks and digital asset banks could eventually offer similar products, giving consumers access to a broader range of financial services. Bessent said he believed that was possible and explained that the Treasury had been working with small and community banks to help them participate in the digital asset revolution. Finally, Lummis raised concerns from both community and large banks that stablecoin legislation, including the Genius Act, could lead to deposits moving away from traditional banks. Bessent was asked to respond to those concerns as
The exchange highlighted a central debate over America's future in digital finance: how to encourage cryptocurrency innovation while maintaining strong regulatory safeguards and protecting the traditional banking system. Bessent emphasized the need for clear rules, responsible oversight, and continued U.S. leadership, while Lummis focused on ensuring that America does not fall behind China and other countries in the rapidly developing digital asset economy.